That you're the prize always.
Uh-oh.
Say that one more time.
Just remember that you are the prize.
Yeah, all right.
I'm the prize. What does that mean?
It just means not compromising like my values, my happiness, my peace, not settling for less than what I know I deserve, and not being afraid to walk away from a situation if it's like no longer serving me.
Imagine calling yourself the prize and you dating Future, baby. That's why I always tell my young G's, they're past me.
Keeping stuff to yourself and keeping it private and learning, when to talk and when not to talk.
You already know there are layers to this, so stay locked in because it only gets deeper from here. Now, real quick, if you don't know the backstory, let's line it up properly because this situation won't hit the same without it. Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's stepdaughter, is a model and social media personality who's constantly in the spotlight. She's been one of the most talked about names when it comes to celebrity dating, known for being linked to high-profile men. And yeah, people also notice she doesn't stay in relationships for very long. Then came Michael B. Jordan, and this wasn't just another casual situation. They were together for about 18 months, and everything pointed to him being fully invested. We're talking big gestures. He rented out an entire aquarium for Valentine's Day, which isn't something you do unless you're serious.
God is good. God is good.
He even opened up emotionally in a way people hadn't really seen before. Reports from People magazine said he really let his guard down with her, showing a side he usually keeps private in relationships. Then out of nowhere, June 2022 hit and Lori Harvey decided to end things, just like that. She was 25, he was 35, a full 10-year gap, and they were clearly not on the same page in life. Reports suggested she wasn't ready to settle down, with stories saying she wanted to enjoy life and stay independent, and that idea kept getting repeated everywhere. Meanwhile, he was all in, and when it ended, it clearly affected him deeply. Still, he didn't go online, didn't do interviews, didn't throw subtle comments. He stayed completely quiet and just kept it moving. Lori Harvey, though, didn't stay single long. She quickly moved on and started dating British actor Damson Idris, known for Snowfall, and people were really watching that closely at the time. The narrative was that she was the one in control, the one with the upper hand, the one who walked away without looking back. Then everything shifted. Michael B. Jordan jumped straight into filming Sinners right after that breakup. No pause, no distractions. That movie went on to pull in 16 Oscar nominations, and then he took home Best Actor. The timeline feels wild when you line it all up. She moved on, he leveled up, and now here we are. And the internet completely lost it, going all in with reactions that didn't hold back at all. The second MBJ won, the internet did what it always does, completely went into overdrive.
Just remember that you're the prize always.
Say that one more time.
Just remember that you are the prize.
What prize? Twitter was going wild, TikTok was flooded, and Instagram comment sections turned into full-on roast arenas, and almost every single post had one target: Lori Harvey. People weren't holding back at all, sharing takes left and right like it was a free-for-all. You had comments like, Lori Harvey now knows she missed out on Michael B. Jordan after he won the Oscars. He was the prize. The hashtag started trending almost instantly. Hashtag missed the moment. Hashtag Lori Harvey regrets. Hashtag Michael B. Jordan won. And they were everywhere you looked. Michael B. Jordan had just stepped off that Oscar stage, glowing from his win, and almost instantly the internet shifted the spotlight onto Lori Harvey like it was all part of the moment. This wasn't just a small group talking either. This was everywhere. Celebrities, bloggers, fans, even random accounts with barely any followers all jumped in, pushing the same loud narrative. People started saying she walked away from the relationship. He went on to win an Oscar. She tried to circle back with a congratulatory message, and he didn't respond, like it didn't carry any weight. That's the storyline taking over right now, and it's way too big to ignore. This is exactly what we need to break down, especially with what's coming next in this video. And trust me, it gets emotional later, so don't miss it. Welcome to Fame Thunder. Hit that subscribe button right now and jump into the comments to let your voice be heard. Don't just watch, be part of the conversation.
You walk around with the gait of a refrigerator and you have a bad and or delusional attitude, and you're still calling yourself the prize, you are in a state of delusion that must be studied.
Now let's get straight into what actually went down on March 15th, 2026. Michael B. Jordan didn't just win Best Actor for Sinners, he made history in a huge way. He became only the 6th black man in 98 years to ever take home that award. And that's not small at all. That's legendary status. People were watching a real milestone happen right in front of them, and the energy in that room was powerful. His speech hit deep, too. He brought up his father, who flew all the way from Ghana just to see that moment live, which made everything feel even more real. And when he finally held that Oscar, Leonardo DiCaprio was the first one up, walking straight over to hug him like it was a once-in-a-lifetime scene. The whole thing felt genuine, emotional, and unforgettable. But the second he stepped off that stage, everything took a sharp turn. The internet didn't stay focused on the win for long. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere you looked, one name kept popping up: Lori Harvey. People weren't even talking about the movie anymore. Instead, Lori Harvey missed her chance started trending within minutes, completely hijacking his moment and turning it into something else entirely. And it didn't stop there, because things got even louder. Celebrities started jumping in, her family got a little messy, and Michael B. Jordan stayed completely silent. And somehow, that silence spoke volumes.
Not to give it, any energy and kind of move from that is, it was an experience for me to grow, and learn.
Memes were dropping nonstop too. Edited clips showing Lori Harvey looking emotional in front of a TV, old couple photos with captions like "what could have been." The internet was relentless and clearly not in a forgiving mood. Then things got even messier. A rumor started making rounds, and while nothing was officially confirmed, people were running with it anyway. The claim going around was that Lori allegedly told MB right before the breakup that he would never win an Oscar. That's the line people started repeating everywhere. Now, to be clear, nobody actually confirmed that was ever said, but that didn't stop the internet from running wild with it. And with the timing of everything, people were way too ready to believe it without asking questions. Then another claim started spreading, and this is where things really went off track. Talk started going around that Lori allegedly reached out to him after his big win. Messages, calls, even a congratulations, and supposedly got no response at all. That alone had people reacting like it was the ultimate plot twist. And this next part, this is what really pushed everything into overdrive. Reports kept popping up, saying she tried multiple times to contact him, and he didn't reply at all. Not one message, not one callback, nothing. None of this has been officially confirmed. No statement from Michael B. Jordan, no statement from Lori Harvey. But that didn't matter, because the story spread everywhere. The narrative was just too perfect for people to ignore, and once it caught on, there was no slowing it down. The internet went all the way in praising him. People were calling it confident energy, saying he didn't respond while holding an Oscar in his hand, like it was the ultimate power move. Others were posting about it during the biggest moment of his career. He didn't entertain a single message from his ex. That's real self-control. And honestly, a lot of that commentary had people nodding along, because it seemed to line up perfectly with how everything played out. If you really think about it, it kind of adds up. She's in a whole new relationship. He's been locked in on his work, leveling up and hitting the peak of his career. So people started asking, why would he even reopen that door? And according to the rumors, he didn't. That just added more fuel to how people were viewing this situation. But then things took another turn, and this is where it got even more interesting. It wasn't just about what people were saying online anymore. It was about what the Harvey family did, or more importantly, what they didn't do. Reports started circulating that Lori Harvey, Damson Idris, and even the entire Harvey family, including Steve Harvey, skipped the Oscars completely. No appearance at the Dolby Theater, no sighting at the Vanity Fair after party.
As a man, you have to focus on the value that you contribute to this world, to this planet, the value of the perception within your work, within your effort. Because the more that you do it, the more that you build in on your legacy, the more that you can command exactly what you want out of this world. Michael B. Jordan's access back when he was dating a Lori Harvey is far lower than what it is right now. He's able to step into rooms now that he would have not been able to years ago.
Nothing at all. And that stood out because Steve Harvey is known for showing up at major events. So people definitely noticed the absence right away. That's literally his thing, showing up, being seen, staying in the mix. So when he was missing on Oscar night, people caught that immediately. The reported reason? They knew Michael B. Jordan had a real shot at winning, and they didn't want to be anywhere near that moment if it actually happened. So instead of taking that chance, they just didn't show up at all. Meanwhile, Michael B. Jordan kept it calm and focused. He walked the red carpet with his mother, Donna Jordan. No date, no distractions, no drama. Just him and his mom by his side. And then he went in there and won the whole thing, like it was meant to happen that way. Of course, the internet had a lot to say about that too. People were posting things like they skipped the Oscars because they couldn't handle watching him win. That's next level. Others said avoiding the biggest night in Hollywood just to dodge your ex. That says everything. And honestly, the silence and absence had people talking louder than any statement ever could. Then Damson Idris got pulled right into the middle of it. The second Michael B. Jordan won, the attention didn't stop at Lori Harvey. He started catching pressure too, and it escalated quickly.
I go back and forth between wanting partnership and then not knowing what's the best partner for me. And the worst part is the loneliness that comes with that. I think there's a loneliness that I have. Like bringing them into my world, what I got going on isn't easy. And it's not just, I love you, you love me, that should be enough, right? The responsibility that you have and is isolating, and the weight is isolating. So I think the worst part of that is the feeling like nobody really understands.
For context, Damson is a 30-year-old British actor, talented and well known for Snowfall, no question about that. But since he hasn't been nominated for a major award, people started unfairly lining his name up next to MBJ's Oscar win, and the comparison started spreading all over social media. It got even louder because people were putting their names side by side like it was a direct comparison. Twitter was flooded with posts saying she left Michael B. Jordan, an Oscar winner, for Damson Idris. People were saying Lori allegedly got with Damson thinking he was the next big thing, the rising star, the one about to take over. Meanwhile, they claimed she walked away from someone who was about to reach another level. And people were quick to point out the contradiction. How are you going to criticize someone for missing out on Michael B. Jordan now, when not that long ago you were calling him uninterested? That didn't sit right with a lot of folks watching this unfold. Now here's the backstory, because it actually matters to everything people are saying. When Lori Harvey and Future split, she moved on pretty quickly and started dating Michael B. Jordan. The timing didn't go unnoticed, and Future clearly has something to say about it. He went into the studio and addressed it in his song Maybach, making sure people caught the reference in the track. He said lines like, "Magic City, I'm the owner. Tell Steve Harvey I'm not interested," which already had people raising eyebrows. But then an extended version of that verse started circulating around the same time news broke about Lori and MBJ. And that version went even further with more intense lyrics that got people talking even more.
Attract a man like Michael B. Jordan, which, doesn't have the reputation of a Future. And some would say that's an attempt of cleaning up her past because it's already been destroyed.
She didn't really have a choice but to move on after me, baby. And yeah, people took that as a direct shot at Michael B. Jordan. They felt like he was calling him uninterested, no filter. And if that wasn't enough, he even posted a video of him and Lori Harvey together with a caption suggesting he shouldn't have given that situation a chance, which only added more drama and gave the internet even more to talk about. And just like that, everything escalated. Fast forward to 2026, MBJ wins the Oscar and Future pops back up, joking about Lori missing out on him, the same man he was criticizing just a couple years ago. The internet caught that contradiction instantly. People were like, wait, didn't you just say he wasn't all that? Now he's the prize? The switch-up was way too obvious, and nobody ignored it. At the same time, people weren't exactly surprised either. When Future gets involved in anything, it almost always turns chaotic. And this, for context, Damson is a 30-year-old British actor, talented and well known for Snowfall, no question about that. But since he hasn't been nominated for a major award, people started unfairly lining his name up next to MBJ's Oscar win, and the comparison started spreading all over social media. It got even louder because people were putting their names side by side like it was a direct comparison. Twitter was flooded with posts saying she left Michael B. Jordan, an Oscar winner, for Damson Idris. People were saying Lori allegedly got with Damson thinking he was the next big thing, the rising star, the one about to take over. Meanwhile, they claimed she walked away from someone who was about to reach another level. And people were quick to point out the contradiction. How are you going to criticize someone for missing out on Michael B. Jordan now, when not that long ago you were calling him uninterested? That didn't sit right with a lot of folks watching this unfold. Now here's the backstory, because it actually matters to everything people are saying. When Lori Harvey and Future split, she moved on pretty quickly and started dating Michael B. Jordan. The timing didn't go unnoticed, and Future clearly had something to say about it. He went into the studio and addressed it in his song Maybach, making sure people caught the reference in the track. He said lines like, "Magic City, I'm the owner. Tell Steve Harvey I'm not interested," which already had people raising eyebrows. But then an extended version of that verse started circulating around the same time news broke about Lori and MBJ. And that version went even further with more intense lyrics that got people talking even more.
Attract a man like Michael B. Jordan, which, doesn't have the reputation of a Future. And some would say that's an attempt of cleaning up her past because it's already been destroyed.
She didn't really have a choice but to move on after me, baby. And yeah, people took that as a direct shot at Michael B. Jordan. They felt like he was calling him uninterested, no filter. And if that wasn't enough, he even posted a video of him and Lori Harvey together with a caption suggesting he shouldn't have given that situation a chance, which only added more drama and gave the internet even more to talk about. And just like that, everything escalated. Fast forward to 2026, MBJ wins the Oscar and Future pops back up, joking about Lori missing out on him, the same man he was criticizing just a couple years ago. The internet caught that contradiction instantly. People were like, wait, didn't you just say he wasn't all that? Now he's the prize? The switch-up was way too obvious, and nobody ignored it. At the same time, people weren't exactly surprised either. When Future gets involved in anything, it almost always turns chaotic, and this situation followed that exact pattern. Every time his name enters the mix, things escalate fast, and this was no different. It's also important to remember Lori was the one who ended things with him first, so seeing him still speak on it years later had people looking at the situation a bit differently. A lot of comments were pointing out that it says more about who really moved on and who didn't. And then, this next part really had people talking, because Lori Harvey didn't exactly stay quiet after her 2022 breakup with Michael B. Jordan either. While he kept things low and said nothing publicly, her side got a little more vocal, and the internet didn't forget that. Her mom, Marjorie Harvey, even shared a clip of Jennifer Lewis saying, "If you sit in something for too long, it stops smelling, so come out of there." And people took that as a clear message. Then Lori added her own layer, posting a photo of a license plate on her IG story, which only added more mystery and speculation to the situation. And that license plate directly suggested moving on. That alone had people raising eyebrows. Then she followed it up with an interview talking about how MBJ didn't meet her standards and how she wasn't gonna settle. That added even more fuel to what people were already thinking. What made it hit harder is that while they were together, she was saying completely different things. That's footage of her saying he called her Sunday morning and told her to get ready because he was coming to pick her up, then took her an hour away to a farmer's market just because she mentioned wanting to go. That shows he was paying attention, listening, and actually putting in effort. So when people saw her later making indirect comments, it didn't sit right at all. But the part that really got everyone talking, Steve Harvey himself got pulled into this. He shared on his show that he ran into Michael B. Jordan at a basketball game, showed him respect and shook his hand, and then Lori Harvey told him not to do that again. That surprised a lot of people.
Michael B. Jordan broke up with me all because of Chadwick Boseman. That is why Michael is still unmarried at 39. When he won the Oscar for Best Actor I sent him my congratulations, but he did not reply. I can understand, after all, we have been broken up for 4 years. We were in a relationship for more than a year, but I have always felt that no one could ever take Chadwick's place in his heart.
Steve even said it in his own words, explaining that he saw one of her exes at a game, greeted him, and later was told not to do that again. He added that he couldn't even acknowledge him anymore. That moment had people reacting strongly. So now people are looking at this like she told her own father to cut off a man who never publicly spoke badly about her and stayed completely quiet the entire time. And somehow years later, there's still tension being talked about. Even with all that, when Steve Harvey and Michael B. Jordan crossed paths, there was still mutual respect there. That stood out to a lot of people because it showed there wasn't any public tension from his side. So now the question is loud. Did Lori Harvey really miss out on one of the biggest situations in Hollywood? Or is it unfair to judge her choices based on how everything played out years later? One minute, people were saying MBJ wasn't enough, and the next minute, he's standing on that Oscar stage while the entire narrative flips in real time. What's wild is how quickly people switch sides. Back then, Lori was being praised for knowing her worth and walking away. Now, suddenly, those same voices are calling it the biggest mistake ever. That contrast is exactly why the story blew up the way it did, because it exposed how opinions online can change overnight. Nobody was calling it a missed opportunity when the breakup first happened. It only became that after the success hit. And that says a lot about how people judge decisions based on results instead of what made sense at the time. And let's not ignore this either. Michael B. Jordan never said a word through all of this. No interviews, no responses, no subtle posts, nothing. That silence ended up becoming one of the loudest parts of the entire story. It gave people space to create their own narratives, and they definitely ran with it. Meanwhile, Lori Harvey hasn't directly addressed any of this either, which just keeps the speculation going. The less both sides say, the more the internet fills in the blanks, and clearly they've been doing that non-stop. So now everything sits in this strange space where nobody involved is confirming anything, but everybody has something to say. And that's exactly why this story refuses to slow down. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get any bigger, the conversation kept evolving in ways nobody expected. Because now, people aren't just talking about the relationship, they're talking about image, legacy, and who really came out on top. It's not even just gossip anymore, it's turned into a full debate online. You've got one side saying this is a clear example of leveling up after a setback, but then there's another side pushing back, saying this whole narrative is unfair. They're arguing that a relationship ending doesn't equal failure, and that trying to tie someone's personal decision to another person's career success doesn't really make sense. And now, we've reached the point where the conversation is bigger than both of them combined. It's not just about Michael B. Jordan or Lori Harvey anymore. It's about how fast narratives can form and how quickly they can shift once success enters the picture.
The David Yurman brooch he wore on the back of his neck when he went on stage to accept the award was from Chadwick's favorite jewelry brand. Chadwick has been gone for 6 years, but Michael still took him with him to the Oscar stage. Last year, Michael attended Chadwick's Hollywood Walk of Fame star ceremony. He also has Black Panther figurines at his home. The scene in the center, where he holds a white flower, was his quiet tribute to Chadwick. They have bigger and grander goals, and winning the Oscar for Best Actor is only one of them. Michael will probably not get married until he fulfills these dreams.
Some people are celebrating his journey, pointing to discipline, focus, and staying quiet as the real win. Others are saying Lori is still living her life on her own terms, and that shouldn't suddenly be rewritten just because of how things turned out later. Both perspectives are getting attention, and neither side is backing down. What really stands out is how every small detail keeps getting analyzed. A post, a like, an appearance, or even a lack of one, everything becomes part of the story. And the more people dig, the more angles they find to keep the conversation going. At the end of the day, no one involved has stepped in to confirm or deny any of it. That leaves everything open. And when things are left open like that, the internet tends to run with its own version of events. And clearly, that's exactly what's happening here. So now the real question is, does silence protect your image, or does it give people more room to define it for you? Because right now, that answer is still playing out in real time, and everyone's watching to see what happens next. And now the spotlight hasn't faded at all. If anything, it's only getting brighter. Every new post, every appearance, every move from Michael B. Jordan or Lori Harvey instantly gets picked apart and turned into another headline. People are watching closely to see if either of them finally says something or if they both continue to let the noise settle on its own. Because at this point, even the smallest response could shift the entire narrative again. That's how sensitive everything has become.
I almost got married very young, and so I think after that, it made me be like, okay, I felt like I hadn't really experienced anything. I didn't really know myself. I didn't really know what I liked, what I didn't like. I just feel like I hadn't really experienced life. So I think at that point, then I was like, okay, I'm about to, like I said, just date on my terms. And like, however I want to move, whatever I want to do, I'm going to do it. And if it's no longer serving me, I'm going to move on.
Now, what she's saying is pretty understandable. You're young and you feel like you haven't explored your options. But the only problem with this is, after Michael B. Jordan won his Oscar, allegedly, she tried to call him.
At the same time, others are starting to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. They're questioning why moments of success always seem to get tied back to past relationships and why personal decisions keep getting judged through the lens of outcomes years later. It's a conversation that's getting deeper the longer this goes on. But one thing is clear. This situation has turned into more than just a trending topic. It's become a case study in how fast public opinion can build, flip, and grow into something much bigger than the original story. So whether this fades out quietly or takes another unexpected turn, people are still locked in, watching every move and waiting to see if anything changes, or if the silence continues to say everything without a single word being spoken. And honestly, that perspective has people thinking. And let's be real, moments like this stick around. Every time Michael B. Jordan wins something else, this conversation is probably going to come right back up. Every new headline, every appearance, it all reconnects to the same narrative people just can't seem to let go of. At the center of it all, you've got two people who have clearly moved on with their lives, but the internet refuses to move on with them. And that might be the wildest part of this entire situation. That's the end of the story, and clearly people are not done talking about it anytime soon. If you made it this far, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to see it. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you really think about everything that went down?